What is up, people, and welcome back to the channel. So today's video, classic Mini, people. Ever took your car for an MOT and it's fouled on radius arms? Now the bush set up on the back of Mini, it's okay, it's worked like in the 50s, late 50s. So but the issue they have is dirt ingress and lack of maintenance, and you get play in the bushes. Now if you're either an engineer and you've got the equipment to fit the new bearings and ream the bushes, because you can't just put the bush in, you have to put the bush in and then ream it. So I'll show you what the bushes look like. I've got some old spares that I keep knocking around. Obviously the bag is done up. There we go, got it. So this is my spares bag. So you have a bearing, let me spin you around. Got a bearing which goes in the one end, needle bearing, and a bush that goes in the other end. Now this bush is not to size. It has to be reamed according to that bearing. So the bearing goes in this side, then you've got like a jig set up and a reamer that goes through and reams this one to size. And that all has to be done at the same time with the plastic tube that's in the middle. There's like a grease tube. This. And this is what allows the grease to travel all the way through, basically, because the grease comes through this little hole here and then spreads its way along the tube. So that goes in there, and then you have to ream it. But if you haven't got the equipment, you buy arms that are already done, rebuilt. So this is a set of arms for this car. So this went for MOT. I had to do some work. I did some bits and bobs. The fuel tank out, changed the fuel line, did some electrical work, got all the electrics working fine. We've raised the car up, did some bits and bobs, not much. Passed the MOT. MOT person advised the tyres, which are 1995 tyres, and they've got flat spots because it literally doesn't go anywhere. So the tyres are going to be replaced by the owner. But you can't fail the MOT on the tyres because they've got plenty of grip. They're just a bit old and worn. So, and they also found some play in the radius arms. Not enough to fail, but they're starting to get some play. And they advised getting them done. So I've contacted the owner, who's my relative along the lines, and he said, yep, to change the arms. So we've got two reconditioned arms. These are from Old School Minis. Now these are not cheap. Anybody knows radius arms are getting very hard to get hold of. You know what I mean? These are like £200 to £250 each now with the kits ready done. And I'm going to tell you what I do when I get the kits. Take them apart, inspect all the equipment, all of the bushes, make sure these are clean, make sure these are clean, this is okay. And then this in here, get yourself your brake cleaner, bearing end, blow all the bearing out with the brake cleaner, and then stand the arm up, yeah, and blow brake cleaner down here, all the way around, whichever, and you will see a load of brass filings come out the end of it, yeah. And then wipe the brass filings off, let it dry off, then do it again. Blow all the bearing out, clean the bearing bone dry, and then blow as much as you can, get the straw going all the way around and blow it all down this way, from the bearing to the bush end, and you'll get more brass. Keep doing that until you get no brass, and then do the other one. Because when they fit the bush, the tube and the bearing and ream it, you can't really get it back apart to clean the brass filings out. No, brass or bronze or whatever it freaking is. So they leave them. And if you don't clean it out, when you put the grease in, it turns into a paste. I put a brand new set of arms on, put them on the car, lasted like 3 weeks, if that, and the brass particles mixed with the grease turned into like a compound ate the bearings away so fast you wouldn't believe. So these are going on this car, and then I'll get those ones replaced because you have to exchange the arms. So yeah, these are my arms that are going on this car, and I'm charging the bloke for these arms, but I will then take those arms and get those swapped when I need them. So yeah, clean the bearings like crazy because there will be so much iron filings in there, it'll be unbelievable. These now are clean, but they are dry. Well, look, actually, see that? And I have cleaned that. So we will have to do this one again. Let me get my finger right in there. Yeah, see all that? That is brass filings. That is mad. I've literally cleaned that. That one's okay. So I will do that one again. And you just got to keep doing it. Because you've got to get this brass filings out because it eats the bearings. So we'll get that re-cleaned, but we'll do that after. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to do the arms, and I'm going to do one with you. So we do one at a time. We're going to jack it up, wheel off, strip it down, and then you'll see how it's done. Okay? We'll start on this side because it's got a bit more space. Right, so what we've got, wheel off. Now the play is here. I don't think you'll see it, but there is movement in the arm. So we've got to get it off. So we've got to start with the brakes. Yeah, so we've got to knock this off. What you're hearing, there's a little adjuster on the back, I'll show you. The top here, this little adjuster. I'm going to back it off and it'll bring the shoes in. It's an 8mm spanner. You can get the proper spanners, but I don't even have one, so. There we go. Bit of brake dust in there, don't need cleaning, but these look brand new backing plates on here. The looks of it. There's new cylinders, new backing plates. They look pretty good shoes. So why they didn't put new radius arms on, I don't know if I know. Next, we've got to knock this off. You know, now these back brakes, when they're torqued up, it's barely nothing. It is a 24mm. You have to remember these are reverse threads. You see, there's barely nothing on that. Nut off, put it in your tray. Well, I'll say tray. Cover, hold the washer, slide the bearing off. That's gone. Now we're going to take the handbrake cable off from the rear. So we've got a little split pin. We're going to take that out, and we're going to knock this pin out. These are a bit of a pain, so you have to take the pin out. Take that out, knock that pin out, hold the spring back to slide the cable out of this retainer, which, oh, well, that one just pulled out, so that's not too bad. So yeah, take that pin out, yeah. Pins out, slide the one hold the door on, pull this cable off. We will need to address this cable around there as well, but we'll do that when we get to it. But while I'm under here, we'll undo the shock. And then we've also got to undo these 3 bolts here, which are 1/2 inch, but 13mm will do the trick. Right, so now we've got all 3 of our 1/2 inch undone. Our shock absorber is undone off the back, which is down here. This is a 9/16, but I 14 does the job. This bracket comes off the bottom of here, which is your handbrake cable bracket. So this now is loose. Alright, so we're attached with our brake cable and our handbrake cable, because this pivots on the arm. It's called a handbrake quadrant. So we need to get a chisel, or something like I use, one of these snap-on flat blade things, or even a screwdriver. So that's been pinched together. Let me show you one that isn't. This isn't pinched together, yeah? Well, it's just a touch on the end. You squash them together so the cable doesn't fall out when the handbrake's off. So you have to just basically bend that back open, yeah, so the cable can pull out. Let me show you. So we'll get our little doofus or whatever you want to use and just bend it open. It doesn't take much force, and then the cable will come free. Yeah, give it a good tug and the cable is now out of this quadrant thing. Yeah, that's that bit done. Now we need to block off this brake cable. It's here, it's a flexi. I use one of these small G clamps. They are really good and so easy, so they don't damage the line. And we're not going to do it tight. You can use pliers, you can use mole grips, as long as you don't over tighten it, because you will damage the inside of the brake cable. So what I do with these, I put them on and just give them a little bit of a nip, but I know that's not holding the fluid back, yeah? So when I undo this and the fluid starts to drip, I can tighten that up until the fluid stops dripping. So I know then I'm not over tightening it, I'm only just tightening it enough, do you know what I mean? So then we've got to get our spanner, ideally a brake spanner, but I can't be asked to go over there and get it from the toolbox. Undo that line there, and then this will just come undone. It does help that this car hasn't long had a restoration, so everything, you know what I mean, is nice. That may be a nightmare to undo. So we're dripping now. Then I will just tighten this up. And there we go. Maybe. Are you going to drip? Are you not dripping? That was off the back of the arm. That is, you do not want to over tighten them. You don't mind a little drip, because this arm isn't going to be off for long, is it? Do you know what I mean? But you just don't want to damage the line. Right, then we've got to undo this nut here, which is the retaining nut. Now this nut will probably be seized, so all of this needs WDing probably the day before, or just buy a whole new brake kit. You can buy all the lines, so these you can buy them as a kit. This, you get that one, you get the ones to the T-piece in the middle. You may as well just change them all. Get some new rubbers, new rubber lines, they're only cheap. Just change them while you're doing the job. Do you know what I mean? So now the brake pipe is off the arm. So we took this off, we took that off. Now on the inside of the arm is one of these nuts, 19mm. We need to undo that now on the inside. I'll show you. So we're underneath, and you've got one here and one there, and they hold the arm in place. So you're going to get your 19mm and you're going to stick it on there, and you're going to take that nut off. Ta-da! Just like that. Now I have no idea how I've just turned the torch on. I don't know how you turn it off. Now it's on. How did you get that to come on there though? Ah, I don't know. Anyway, there we go. So that is now off. Yeah. I really do not know how. I've just got my torch to come on. That would have been nice to know earlier. So now we've got to undo this nut here. Yeah. And then this nut here. and then this nut in there, that one, and then that nut there. So once we've undone those 4 nuts, this arm will come out the car. Another thing you might have to work with is the suspension. Now this car's running high-lows, so I am going to take the advantage of slacking off the suspension. So when you're running high-lows, you've got this adjustment here. When you've got normal cones in, you can just about get the arm out by sliding it this way. Because we've undone these, you can now slide the arm over, get the shock off, drop the arm down, and it'll pop out the high-lows. But what I'm going to do is just make life easier for me. I'm going to unadjust this. So I'm going to take a measurement off the cone to there, and then I'm going to unadjust it just to get it out of the way. $46mm. Out of there. As I say, if you've got normal suspension, just undo these what we've said, slide the arm to you, push the shock off, drop it down, and you should be able to finagle it out of the cone. Yeah? When you're putting all this back together, I'll show you anyway in the next video, copper slip your nuts, because they will seize so fast you would not believe. So now that is ready to come out of the car. Just like that, see? Now, whilst you're in this area, clean everything. Like this grease, I'm guessing it's come out the back seal on the radius arm and gone down. So someone has greased the life out of them, thinking they could save the radius arm. So you'll probably find out they've done that to pass an old MOT. And what they should have done is took it apart like we have and done it properly. Yeah? Why someone has gone to this much work to rebuild the car, restore the car, and not put new radius arms in, it's beyond me. Right, so the arm's off. So here we've got the drive flange, the back brake assembly, hub, high-low bar, which goes in there. This is your camber bracket, radius arm mount camber bracket. So if you were doing this job on your own car, I would personally check your rear brakes. Parts are so cheap. These back plates are not that cheap, but you can clean them up, give them a paint, just change your springs, check this has got no leaks, because you're better off changing it while it's apart now. Check your flexes, see if they need replacing or any of your brake lines need replacing. It's all cheap stuff. Do you know what I mean? Check your bearings out in there. This had no play in the bearings, so I'm not going to play with them, you know what I mean? So, to do this job, these are the tools I've used. A hammer, two 13mm, a ratchet, what was that, a 24? A 24 for the hub nut in the middle, 17mm for the wheel, no, 19mm for the wheels on this car, and the nuts on the end of here, the big nuts. 14, 13 and 8mm, a scraper, a chisel, pair of pliers, that for your brake lines, an extension bar, a pair of mole grips, wasn't really used, and a ruler. That is it. But now let's have a look at what we've took off. This is the arm we've took off. And look, you can see the wear in there. That's off the brass bush end. Yeah, you can see how it's wore in at the top. And the bearing end is absolutely scrap. Look at the wear. That is massive wear on that. Do you know what I mean? So that is why we're changing them. You can literally see how it drops in there. Because the problem with these suspension arms is they don't move much. They do this, they don't do this. If they did that, you could spread the load a lot better. Or even if yearly you just flipped it 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So yeah, brass bush end is scrap. Bearing end is massively scrap. So we know the bearing's scrap in this, and we know the bushes are scrap. Bearings are wallowed out, but so is the brass bush. You can see it ain't round to save its freaking life. Yeah, and it's virtually smooth in there now. It hasn't got the recess. So it's scrap, but it hasn't touched the casting. So this arm is still reusable once it's been refurbished. If the brass bush has worn through to the arm, the company won't have it back. So yeah, scrap. That is why we are doing it. So this is the take apart video, and the next one will be the put together video. Yeah, so that's the one video done. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the put together. Anyway, see you in a bit, people.